Hello everyone and welcome in the second day of our launch week. Today, I'm very excited to announce something that we've been working on for a long time: custom workflows. One of the main challenges that we've been hearing from teams is the difficulty to collaborate between subject matter experts and developers, especially on complex applications like agents, where there is no one prompt. There are multiple tools, each having their own description, with multiple prompts for multiple agents. And the subject matter expert does not have an easy way to kind of test these, iterate on these, evaluate these. And the only way is the back and forth between the SME and the developer. Well, until now. With custom workflows, you can connect your application to Agenta. So really your code running on your premises, connected to Agenta. And you can specify the schema for your configuration so that now everyone in the team can open the playground in Agenta and they will see all the parameters of your schema, iterate and run your application with a different configuration, version it, evaluate it, and basically do the whole LLM Ops workflow, but from the UI. Let me show you how it works. So the example I'm going to show here is an example of a chain of prompts. We have a first prompt that takes a blog post and then summarizes it. Then that summary goes into a second prompt that generates a tweet out of that blog post. Now that's the kind of custom workflows or complex workflows that are very hard to do in a usual playground. The reason being is that you don't have access to the inputs of the second prompt, and the whole logic is interrelated. Depending on the first prompt, you need to change the second one. Let me show you how it works in Agenta. So you would create the logic of the application here. It could be basically an application that you have already created. And what you need to do to integrate this with Agenta is two things. The first is to specify the schema of the configuration. In our case, it's two prompts. And that is done through a Pydantic class. I create here my configuration. It has prompt 1, summarize the blog post, and prompt 2, write a tweet based on this. These are the default values that I'm going to change later in the playground. The second thing is I create a route, an endpoint, based on my application. Now this is based on Fast API, and it creates an endpoint that uses this schema that I defined here. Now later, after creating this endpoint, I can use the configuration generated or provided by this request and use my logic with that. Now finally, I need to open or create a server for this endpoint. Now let's run this application. As you can see here, we created the UVCurn server at localhost 8000, and this server has an endpoint that has been generated with this route. Now we go to Agenta and click on Create Custom Workflow, and we're going to create our application called Chain of Prompt and set as the URL localhost 8000. I click on Create the application, and now I see in the playground the two prompts I have set. Let's take the blog post from our launch week and run it with these prompts. So now Agenta is calling our endpoint. You can see that here, and running the code to get the final tweet. We can go here and see the trace, see the output of the first call of the LLM application, the summary, and then go here and see the second kind of prompt and also output. I can continue and iterate on the prompts here. I can create new versions out of it. I can deploy it. I can run evaluations from it, all from the web UI, enabling everyone in the team to collaborate on any workflow. Now that, in this example I've shown a simple chain of prompts, but that could connect to any workflow that you have independent on its configuration. So that's it for today. Check out our repository and give us a star, and stay tuned for the rest of the announcement for the rest of the week.